Does anybody mind if I wait a moment while everybody else has a seat? Okay. I wanted to draw your attention, not too much change on general fund, it's our usual operations throughout general fund. What I did want to draw your attention to was ad valorem. There was a change there. If you want to look at your bottom for our expenditures for operations and maintenance, your equipment purchases, we've been trucking along throughout the fiscal year where we haven't seen any change throughout that from month to month. As we have been cleaning up our requisitions and our purchase orders to start preparing for our fiscal year end, we noticed that there was a requisition that had been converted that was charged to an incorrect expenditure line as a supply line. These were in fact 2 lawnmowers that cannot be coded as a supply. They are actually supposed to have been coded as a piece of equipment. So we have recoded those, moved them from a supply, and put those into the equipment purchases to now show in May that that charge was there for the 19.5. Did you have a question?
Yeah, while I'm looking at that,
Okay.
services, so 845,000 is our budget, we only met 52%. I think we're gonna have that, or we're gonna have to carry over that.
We're gonna see a revision on that. So I'm looking to present you with a revision at the end of the year once we are finalized with our inventory and our warehouse. That's gonna be where you're gonna see all of those changes, okay? I don't think we're gonna meet that at this point, looking through our purchase orders and our encumbered requisitions, and that's why you'll see your revisions. There wasn't much else that would really draw my attention into the ad valorem, because we know that we are receiving our sales tax, and that is within calculation right now. Just to let everybody know, as of our to date, we are at on the 66 side of the fund, we are at, it's not a very large number, but we are up at 0.14% of that side from December till now as to where we were at this time last year. And we are at a 0.75% decrease on the 90 side of that sales tax percent fund from where we were last year. Not large numbers, but just wanted to give a little bit of information on that.
What was the 66?
66 was a 0.14% increase, so we're not even, these are minimal amounts. And then on the 90 side, a 0.75% decrease.
The difference is the taxable amount in the 90 tax, because the city of Maryville had already got to the limit, it's not the same percentage that we hold out.
Yeah.
When it was passed, if I'm not mistaken. So, you think, well, they have to be the same,
And they're not.
but there's just a little bit of a fraction of difference.
And remember too, on those expense side of those as well, one side of that, and I have to look back, but on the expense side of that, one set tax side pays the retirees and the other side doesn't. So it's not equal on that side either. There was not much change in bond, just the normal monthly expense that we had there. And there really wasn't, yep, go ahead.
You have revenues on bonds for, as of April and May, we don't have any figures there, is that these 2 columns don't have anything in it?
We have had no interest earned in there. That's where those,
They stopped in April, so we ain't paying?
there hasn't been any interest. So with, even in one of our, we have another account as well, that interest right now, with the way that, unfortunately, the way the economy is going, there is not much interest being earned.
So those 2 months, 0 for interest?
as what I'm seeing right now, and I'm gonna pull statements again, but yes. Yep. But when I pulled this as well, my ledger may not have pulled, so that could be another as well. But I can pull that again for you on Thursday evening to see. But we have another account that we're normally seeing interest earned, and it's not being earned.
So, something I'm looking here, let's go back to FY 2020. Total was 470,000 earnings on that. So
Mhm.
we spent a bunch of money out of it, I guess. And then it went to 15,000.
That was the total earned for fiscal year 21.
Right. And 22 was 2598.
Half of 22.
Yeah. Then it went to 5,000. Then it's 1299, 1173, 1299. And then it went to zero for the next.
It's fluctuating. Yes, sir.
Zero.
And like I said, I have to pull the general ledger again. But yes,
Yeah, I'd check on that.
I will.
but I don't believe it's secret.
I will. I can. I'll pull it again.
Okay.
I'll pull your interest again.
Rates are actually going up, looking at
What was that?
the rates are actually going up.
I'm hoping they are, because we have one that's,
I know our amount went down, but, because we had some reductions, but
I'll pull it and I'll get back to you on Thursday. I'll look at our ledger. And when I pull this, it may not have just pulled over when I pulled our revenues for that month.
So,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I stopped.
You're good.
Go ahead.
You're okay. Parish-wide debt, there was no change on there. There's never change on that. And school food service still is gonna have that number in the revenue side, that crazy number, until we do the, I lost my train of thought. Yes, until I give you your revision at the end of the year on the revenue side of that. And Mr. Manuel, I will check that interest side and have that for you Thursday, information for you.
This, lot 19 total breakdown, is that a sheet we added?
Yes. One side of it was an actual, we were pulling we were paying out monthly, and the other form of it was it as a total. At the bottom of it is your balance. The bond 19 total breakdown, if you look at can I look and see which one you're looking at?
No, it's just that one sheet that was kind of in between those.
Yes, this is what your bond balance is, with everything totaled.
We kind of skipped over that, I just wanted to look at it. Any more questions from Ms. Hatch?
The 19.8 in the bond, that's not, the balance left with Maryville, 22.6 million, 2.7, that's not in that number, correct?
So that number should be reduced by 2 million?
2.7.
looks like
Wait, no, hang on, I spoke incorrectly. This balance is with those,
Okay.
yes, this 19 is with,
Encumbrances.
yes, thank you.
You told me that word last night.
Yeah. If we were to pay everything all out today, that is what our balance would be. I had to wrap my head around that sentence.
Good mistake.
But we just have 3.6, 3.7 left to pay out of that 10.9.
For which school? Let me go back
For
to it.
total, all projects. All projects. That we're working on. 3 point something, right at 3 million to come, left to pay out of that 10
Almost
million.
4, yeah. 3.7.
Hang on, I closed it.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. Yes, from those two projects, that's the total that we have left to pay. But that's already included in
In the
that
10.
19.
In the 10. It's included in the 10.
Yes, in the 10.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes, which leaves you the 19.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Anybody else have any questions? Ms. Hatch? entertain a motion to receive financial prior month.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed likewise. All right, item 3. Consider awarding bid for bread and bakery products for school cafeterias for the 22-23 school year. We're feeling it everywhere. I'm sure we're gonna feel it here too.
You are. Okay. Bid, the school food service bread bid for 22-23. You've received them all. Everybody have them pulled out. It is recommended to award the bread bid to Flowers Baking Company of Baton Rouge, LLC, for the 2022-2023 school year for a total amount of $34,067.
Do we know what last year's was?
Well, why, yes, Miss Terry, do we have last year's on
I don't
bread?
have last year's total, because this is just a snapshot of what we think we're going to spend. But I can tell you that, like hamburger buns, they went from $2.16 to $2.31 for an 8-pack of buns. And that's the same with the hot dog buns and the sub rolls. They all went up a little bit. So it's an increase. And that's to be expected with.
Oh, sure. I thought it was more than
Me too.
Yeah, let's hurry.
Well, some of them are,
Let's
just
hurry up
not
and
on
approve this
bread.
one.
Just like.
Let's approve this one. We're trucking, right? We can approve this one. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Well, we're looking at the budget. And Thursday, we're gonna act on the budget. What kind of projections did you use in the budget for these increases?
When I did it, I used last year's. Because I had to use past history, because this year we got so much
Free.
of free stuff, I couldn't continue to look at that.
We don't know what we're gonna get.
We didn't have any
What,
outlets last year.
what I ended
Right.
up doing, whenever
And
I
I got
got
with
involved
Terry
with the
quite
budget,
often with this.
what I ended up doing, I went back 2 years,
Mhm.
pre-COVID. Pre,
21,
inflation,
I think
whatever.
2021 was the fiscal year that we looked at,
Right.
that I was looking at. Is that pre-COVID? I lost a year, I think.
no,
How much
no.
increase
I
did
went
you
back
put?
to
Even further,
2019. And I based budget on those numbers. Those numbers on reimbursement, because we don't look for all of the free lunches to stay. We look for them to go back to paid, where they have to either have an application in place or they have to pay. So I went back to those numbers. And based on the number of participants that we have, because let's face it, you cannot eat for the prices that we charge. We cover our plate cost with those prices and with the reimbursements. But we're hoping that the kids that we picked up over the 2 years keep eating, even though it is going to go back to paid. So I based it on that, but I also based it on the participation data that we have now. I kind of waned it off a little bit, but it's a best guess. It's a best guess scenario, but I went back 2 years to data.
And I appreciate all that, I really do. And maybe I'm out of line because this is probably Thursday's discussion. But some of the questions I had when I started looking through the budget was, where are we getting our projections? Because last year, even the year before, were abnormal years. So to say, well, we're gonna look at the last 2 years or even the last 3, and you add to that, it's gonna cost more this next year, no matter what we do, so. And we had a bukus of money that come in that's not gonna come in again, reoccurring funds. So that's why when I was looking at the budget, I was just curious, where did you get your projections and, what kind of figures were you using?
Our financial software we date back to 2015. I can look back and track that. And because of that, and me not being here as far back, I got with the supervisors that oversaw this when doing this. I know we're not on budget, but to learn and to know, getting with the supervisors, Ms. Terry, Mr. Ford, to see where we need to be. 'Cause
If anything, I'd be on the high side.
And that's what I tried to do. I tried to lower revenues. And we did look at the inflated prices. So we try to balance that budget as much as possible, but it's like I told Mr. Cooley and Ashley, it's a best guess.
Well, and I
Because
appreciate
we
that.
we don't know what the price, I mean, we don't know what things are gonna take place. I can't tell you that everybody's gonna eat that we're eating, so we don't know what we're gonna get as a free reimbursement, what we're gonna get as a partial reimbursement. You know, paid kids, we don't know how many are gonna eat. But I still stand behind, they're getting a nutritious meal. They cannot get that kind of a meal for that price anywhere, any day.
And we certainly want that. I mean, that's, and I just don't wanna run short.
Right.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, and we are looking at, we should have revenues left.
Yes,
So
She-
we do have that also.
we will have a reserve left in school food service.
So with
To
that-
carry us over.
With that being said, by the time y'all prepared the budget, it's been over a month, probably close to 2 months ago. Prices have gone up. I mean, like if Core did that for us 2 months ago, I mean, now that we're fixing to approve a budget, does that need to be fixed? Do you think we're still
One
good
of
with
the
that number?
things with this, with us bidding, we bid for a year. I talked to some of these vendors before they submitted their bids, because they were like, I don't wanna go too high, but I don't wanna go too low. You know, cause they're looking a year ahead. They don't know what's gonna happen either. So what we're looking at here is locked in. So it shouldn't, our prices here shouldn't go higher.
So these, you figured it up with these prices right here?
Yes.
The bids we accept Thursday night or don't accept? You think we're
Because
still
we
good
knew
under
it
those
was
numbers?
going up.
Okay.
We even looked at fuel at that way as well,
Yeah.
at the very high end of fuel.
Mr. Terry, one
And
question.
it's just numbers, what I mean, students, and
Right.
that's a guess every year.
It's a
It
best
is.
guess scenario.
Mr. Terry, at the start of the school year, we will transition back to pay?
Unfortunately, yes, as of right now, Congress people have been trying to do bills that would keep us eating free and stuff, but in Louisiana, it hasn't happened. In other states, it has, but in Louisiana, it hasn't. So as of right now, we have to go on what we have right now, which is, it's going back to paid. The kids will not eat free next year.
So-
Which is what will be in our handbooks. We went back to that in our handbooks for each school. And it should come as an award that we get them free, then we can easily go back.
So that was a federal award that they're giving to some states and not Louisiana, or that's a state award?
Some
It's
states.
USDA approving it.
Federal is talking about it still.
But those
But
states.
those that have it,
Yeah,
the
those
states.
states, okay.
And some of them came up with creative ideas where they were just, the students that were, paid students, they actually would kick in to pay for those students, but the free students, they wouldn't kick in for. So they were basically, some of them are basically supplementing, others are just keeping it as is. All states are different, but I've been trying to kind of watch them to see. But Louisiana, it's not gained any traction. So LDOE has told us, plan that it will be paid again.
Thank you. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
And I just did want to say this, while Terry's here, ask what you can, because I don't know if she's gonna be here or not Thursday.
I will not be here Thursday night. I'll clear
I'm
that
just
up.
I'm just putting
You
that
can
out.
answer that one.
I wanna be able to get these answered accurately for you.
Any other questions on bread? I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommended award bread bid to Flowers Bacon. Back production.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise. Okay, item number 4 is to consider awarding bid for milk and related products for school cafeterias for the 22-23 year.
Okay, this is the school food service milk bid for 22-23, It is recommended to award the milk bid to Mid-State Marketing LLC, DBA Borden, for the 2022-2023 school year for a total amount of $220,946.75.
Ms. Terry, we didn't have Gordon this year, did we? It was Gordon?
And a note on that too, a lot of times, we don't spend this amount. A lot of the kids with offer versus serve, they don't take the milk. So we don't actually spend this much. We usually have milk money left over.
Is this the good chocolate milk or is it
Yeah.
not the good chocolate milk? 'Cause that's what I need to know.
It depends on your taste buds.
Well, why is chocolate so much more expensive?
Normally, it's the same. For several years, it had been the same. I don't know. I
mean,
guess the
strawberry is
processing.
about the same as regular.
I
It
guess
is-
it's
it
the
is, but
processing.
What are you looking at?
Yeah,
We sell, I would assume, because we sell more chocolate milk. But
We
the
do
co-
sell
cost per
more.
unit's the same.
Yeah, both of them 31 cents.
We do
Okay.
sell more chocolate milk.
I was looking at didn't look at the quantity. I'm looking at.
Even
I got
though
you.
it's more.
Looking at the amount.
Yeah.
Flavored water.
Yeah.
Chocolate drink.
Cut out the chocolate, we may not sell
One,
it.
so I know that, that a lot of our, school food services was kind of constrained, from back, in the Obama administration, just with some changes that we made. It would, are some of those guidelines still kind of implemented, or,
They're all implemented.
so they're still the same, so they were never rolled back to?
With the previous administration, some of them had been rolled back a little bit, as you
Mhm.
say. But now they're being enforced again
Okay,
because we had gotten it to where we could actually have 1% fat in our milk.
yeah,
That's gonna go away again, but for right now, we can still have it, so we did it. Because it does seem like it's water, but that 1% fat makes such a big
oh, yeah.
difference, for the good chocolate milk. But they are rolling back, and also the sodium limits, they're fixing to enforce those again,
Mhm.
where we had gotten to, those have been frozen for 5 years now.
What about the bread? I mean, I know we already,
Okay, here is the new guideline on the bread, y'all follow me with this. We have to have 75% that is whole grain enriched. Okay, the way that we're covering that so that we don't have to do away with our white hamburger buns and our white hot dog buns, which the kids love and they come and eat, is we're doing the bread as a 51%. And then they don't know when you throw a sauce on spaghetti and macaroni and stuff like that. So we're keeping that all whole grain. So we're meeting the guidelines, but yeah, we're keeping our white bread.
love it.
We're trying to be creative because we want the kids to come and eat.
Well, and that's what's so frustrating about the milk issue. When I was in school, we actually had 2% in whole milk,
Right.
when I was in school. And the
Right.
chocolate milk was whole milk chocolate milk. So, when my kindergartner who has the worst sweet tooth comes to me and is like, I don't like the chocolate milk, and I'm like, then it's
Oh, yeah,
pretty
it,
old. So it's
it's different.
yeah.
If
it's
he
just-
drinks the real chocolate milk at home,
Yeah.
he's
So
not gonna like it.
it's just one of those things because then what happens is that you have kids who choose not to drink milk at all,
Right.
and so
And that's why I said that about the milk. Most of the kids, offer versus serve, we do from 3rd grade up. So they don't have to take the milk, and they don't.
All right, any more questions?
I'd like to make a motion to award the milk bid to Mid-State Marketing LLC, DBA Borden, for the 22-23 school year for $220,946.75.
I'll second.
Got a motion second to approve the milk bid. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Item 5 is consider awarding bid for frozen foods for school cafeterias for the 22-23 school year.
Okay, the school food service frozen food bid for 22-23. It is recommended to award the frozen food bid for all items in Group A to William George Company, Inc., and all items in Group B to Lamb Food Service for the 22-23 school year.
No bid on waffle fries? Come on.
We're gonna go shop those locally.
We
Items
actually-
16, 24, and 55.
And we actually did get a we got a quote on the waffle fries. We did not get it as a bid, so we'll have to be frugal with those, but we did get a price on them.
Are they Chick-fil-A from?
But the
Chick-fil-A
16,
fries.
16, 24, and 55 received no bid from both vendors. These items will be purchased at local store or substituted with another item.
I make a motion to award the frozen food bid for all items in Group A to William George Company, Inc., and all items in Group B to Lamb Food Service for the 22-23 school year.
I'll second. Motion second. No further discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Item 6, consider awarding bid for produce for school cafeterias.
School food service produce bid for 22-23. It is recommended to award produce bid to William George Company, Inc. for the 22-23 school year. Items 4, 5, and 13 will be purchased at local grocery store or substituted for another item.
Nobody bid on the eggs.
So we have to use frozen eggs now.
Is that why? Because we,
It's fine, but nobody bid on fresh eggs.
So then you
They're
use-
afraid to, basically,
that
because
costs
they
us
don't
a lot
know
for
what the
those.
price is gonna be.
I bet there's enough parents that send them to school. Everybody plays. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to award the produce bid to William George Company Incorporated for the 22-23 school year.
Have a second? Second. No further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Motion carries. Item number Item 7, to award bidding for staple foods for school cafeterias 22-23 year.
school food service staple bid for 22-23. It is recommended to award the staple bid for all items in Group A to William George Company, Inc., and all items in Group B to Lamb Food Service for the 22-23 school year. Items numbers 36, 50, 94, and 134 received no bid from both vendors. These items will be purchased at the local store or substituted with another item.
How many other companies is out there like William George and Lamb?
How many companies
How
are?
many others see these bids, or have the opportunity? to
There
bid?
are several that we have actively tried to get other vendors to bid, but because we have a small warehouse. We can't have just one delivery location. We have to have them delivered to all of our schools. It's the way we've been set up forever. They are very leery. We actually talked to US Foods this year and Whole Foods. They were interested, but whenever they found out that they had to deliver to all the schools, they backed out. So that's why inadvertently, every year, we end up with these two vendors. But we have actually tried to find other vendors.
So, have you looked at the prices though on, that other parishes have on, that have those vendors?
That have a warehouse with one,
Right,
I know Calcasieu,
right,
which they're huge.
that's right.
They have a warehouse, they take in everything. They are going full-fledged with US Foods this year. They're not using any other vendors, they're paying higher prices.
Than what we're paying?
And I mean, but
And they still have to ship it out once they get to the warehouse.
yes, they have drivers that have to deliver to each school, plus they have the truck overhead,
Fuel. Yeah.
fuel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better grab this one.
Just out of curiosity, why? Why were they paying the higher price? You happen to know?
Jacqueline's main reason for doing that I understand, was because this past year, we had such a hard time finding certain things. You know, I talked to y'all about the chicken nuggets. We couldn't find chicken nuggets for 2 months. And US Foods has guaranteed her basically that they will give her anything she wants. If she uses a certain rice, it's out of Eunice or somewhere, Supreme, I think. She asked them point blank, is that rice available through y'all? Because this is the rice I use, this is the rice the kids eat. I wanna stick with this rice. We don't carry that rice, but we will. They're willing to get her anything that she needs. Now, they're still gonna run into the issues that we did, because everybody's gonna run into those issues, but they've guaranteed her that if they didn't have what she needed, they'd be able to substitute something that was just as good, and she would not have those shortages. So that's why she went with US Food, and she said, I'm going to be paying a little bit more, but that's Anna's Calcasieu, so.
Any other questions?
Mr. Manuel, I'll make a motion to award the staple bid for all items in Group A to William George Company, Group B to Lamb Food Services for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
Motion second. No further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Item 8, the award bid for paper goods for school cafeterias for 22-23 school year.
School food service paper bid for the 22-23. It is recommended to award the paper goods for food bid for all items in Group A to William George Company, Inc., and Group B to West Central Wholesale for the 22-23 school year.
And this is where we hope that we can save some with less grab and go. We're hoping that we will be able to go back to normal in the cafeterias, and that will cut down on our paper cost tremendous.
Just looking at item 10, like on this paper goods, it's like plastic forks, $18 for a case of 1,000. Then the other company's $45 for a case of 1,000.
Well, some of that goes to quality too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, ain't nothing like, breaking a fork trying to cut
Right.
something.
But the thing is
So
too.
we gotta take a
whenever-
little bit?
Here's the thing, I'm hoping that we don't have to use a lot of those, because that's one of the items that will be less used because of less grab and go. And who's to say they may be just as good as the other ones?
Yeah, boy.
But you can see, I think it's trap.
They don't send you a sample.
Yeah.
I was thinking too. Just a sample, they're flatter.
Just take two, they're cheaper.
I'll make a recommendation for the paper goods food bid for all items in Group A to Williams George Company and Group B to West Central Wholesale for the 22-23 school year.
Second.
Alright, a motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise. Item number 9 is to consider proposal for adjusted services with server at work. We have a green card, public participation card. Somebody here to speak on that? Okay, yes, sir. Just state your name and address.
Alright, so good evening. My name is Dustin Ashworth, address 138 Stanley Smith Road, Singer, Louisiana. So I don't like getting up here in front of y'all. But what I wanted to come today and talk about was just an insider view of dealing with server at work. My background is I was a teacher for 9 years at Singer High School, and then I currently serve as the school tech for Singer in Maryville. I actually started working with technology back in 2017. I don't know if any of you all remember, but we had a little incident where there was a virus that came through. I think it was through the email, swept through, and we basically had to pull the plug on every device in the parish. That was quite an event, and I hope we never have to do that again. But since then, different things have been added, different systems have been put in place, and on the inside now, I appreciate those systems and processes, and I appreciate the backup that we have with our contractor server at work. Today, like I said, I work at school as a school site tech. Just, we don't like to think about the worst case scenario. Most of us just go to work every day, hope it's a normal day, go home, enjoy yourself. But there's a lot of people out there that make their living hacking and stealing information. And schools are a prime target because of all the data that we have. We have phone numbers and addresses and health records, all that stuff. So there's people out there that try to get those, and I don't know how to stop them. I mean, I know a little bit about what I do, and I know how to turn things on and work with the user side of things, but I don't have a lot of professional knowledge when it comes to big things like that. So I trust the folks above me, whoever is running the servers and the systems, to handle that. And one of the things I do like about Server at Work is they have, I believe they have 24-hour people on call. There's been a couple of times I was working late at the office, and if you call here at 6 o'clock, what do you think you'll get? A voicemail, right? But if you call down there, you will get a live person, and they will direct it to whoever it needs to go to, whatever. So I just appreciate that contact and that closeness with us, and I just appreciate the company, and I hope we can still kind of keep them on in some form. So thank you.
Is anybody else to speak on this item?
Michael is here with Server at Work, if you would like for him to share
Yeah, please.
the agreement.
Good evening, everyone. Whenever Server at Work partnered with the technology department a little over 3 years ago, after the 27 incident that Dustin shared, the goal that we had was to come into the parish, work with the technology department and with the staff to implement some really large and complex projects, and also to implement some modernization projects that had been lagging behind. The goal wasn't for us to be here forever and continue to manage the parish technology department. It was to get those big hard things done and to get what we call into a maintenance phase, which everybody here is probably in business or some type of industry, and you've probably got some type of product life cycle that you manage. You do the hard stuff, the big stuff, the complex stuff. The goal is to get into that maintenance phase where it's lower cost, but you don't want to lose sight on keeping those things with high uptime, the security's there, the product's there, the availability of the services there. So that was the goal and the challenge that Mr. Cooley and Mr. Ramsey put to us several years ago, was to get to that phase. And we've all agreed that we've come to that point, so we are entering the maintenance phase at this point. And so what we were expecting to happen at that time is for us to be able to scale back our services which also means, of course, significantly scaling back cost. And relinquishing a lot of the day-to-day management and administration that our company performs in the parish, and have parish technology department staff step up, come into the department, and actually take over that day-to-day management and administration of the technology department. And so we were asked to put together a new proposal, a greatly scaled back proposal, but one that we still kept our eye on the ball as far as the really high-end, the complex technologies that have a way of producing significant downtime and harm to the parish. And so the proposal that we put together was one where Server at Work would still manage, maintain, and support the servers, the 72 servers that we have implemented inside the parish right now in the central office and in the schools. The over 700 network devices that run the internet and all the network and switching and wireless inside the schools. And as Dustin had mentioned, all the cybersecurity that's involved in the school. We're protecting over 6,000 individual devices inside the school, each one of them with a very talented student who tries to find ways to get around all the best protections that are out there. Our company, we have over 30 full-time employees working on the parish every day. We have at least 6 people that every day are looking at your servers, your network, your maintenance, your cybersecurity, making sure that everything's secure, it's working right. We're running down all the little glitches and all the little things that are happening, and this is all happening remote in the background. These services we're providing, aside from the faces that you would see here in the parish every day. Every day, most people would see the bearded fella in the IT department, the director's office across the street, Clint Goodwin. He's been the acting technology director for the parish for several years now. And then we've had full-time network engineers who every day would come to the schools, and that was a part of the previous contract, was just every day we're putting boots in the ground, just a part of the services that we're providing. Under the new agreement, we would continue to do, as I said, the server management, the cybersecurity management, and the network management and support. But the parish has candidates that they're putting in place right now to do that daily management and administration of the technology department. So those tasks would be turned back over into the parish and parish staff. Of course, we're there at any time that anybody needs anything to support them. As Dustin said, we're a 24/7, 365 SOC 2 compliant organization. So anytime they need anything, we're there for any type of emergency support. But also we recognize that this is a transition period and that there's going to need to be a lot of information sharing, some retraining of some new staff, parish staff, as they take over these new roles. And we're going to be here every step of the way to make sure that nothing gets missed, no ball gets dropped during this, but we also set everybody up who's taking our place to be highly successful, and they can do the best job that they can possibly do. So I wanted to thank everybody for consideration of this new revised and greatly reduced proposal. And of course, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
So, wait.
Well, I was gonna ask Mr. Cooley if it's okay. So we have people in place that will be able to take over, or we are hiring new people, Mr. Cooley?
We possibly would have to add a person. We have the staff that has been working with them and working daily with them. But it may be that we would have to add someone. A lot of that will be determined once we get a new assistant superintendent, see what areas they're gonna deal with or how we're gonna work that. But that's the reason we've asked them to continue to help us right now until we can make this transition.
And our staff now that you're working with includes how many people?
On staff here with the parish, I believe we've got 5 full-time techs right now. And I think there are a few positions that are currently being hired that are already available open staff positions that are being hired.
Mr. Goodwin, last year's contract, do you recall that annual amount?
I don't have the math in my head, but the monthly was $17,995, and the new contract is $8,000 per month.
So, you talked about remote support. It does say, during and after implementation, our solution is backed up by our live remote support desk, which is available Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. Also provide a live on-call service for all issues that occur after hours. But we get charged for that, right?
It depends on what it is. If it's something that we're supposed to be supporting, for instance, network cybersecurity or servers, no, you wouldn't be charged for that. If we're responsible for keeping it up and running and it breaks, we take care of it anytime.
But on type deals, you'd be the one that would know if it was broke. If it's cybersecurity and that stuff, it wouldn't be somebody from a district calling to say anything, right?
It depends. It depends on who sees it first. We have all the monitoring and management and things that are in place. So our technicians and engineers at 2 o'clock in the morning in their PJs will get a text call saying, hey, you need to wake up and look at something that's going on at a server in Beauregard Parish. And of course they do that. But if anybody just after hours opens up an email and goes, oh boy, what did I just do? This page, I just put a password here and this page is not what I should have been doing. You know, they're going to know that first. We're not going to be able to monitor that activity, but they would be able to let us know about that.
So, and I see on the consulting and support, so 100 hours annual remote consulting and advisory service. That's not talking about these?
No, that's extra 100 hours that we're also including on that, just because we know we're going to have a lot of what we would out of scope from what we just talked about, but knowledge transfer, meetings, technology roadmap that we look at, you know, every quarter, E-rate consulting, things like that that need to happen. That would all be covered under that. We've looked at the hours. Yes, sir, under the 100 hours.
So then any additional hours, so like for testing, district testing, we might be up with our 100 hours by the time testing gets here, right?
We went through and looked at, it's possible, but we did look at the amount of time and estimate the amount of time that we felt like would be needed to cover all those other activities. And we felt like that 100 hours collectively, us and Mr. Cooley's office, would be more than sufficient to handle all of it without going over those hours.
That plus when we get in testing.
Correct, yes, sir.
And then after that, it's gonna be $85 an hour, but you gotta buy it in 10-hour blocks.
Correct, yes, sir.
Mr. Goodwin, can I ask a what-if question?
Yes, sir.
So we have lots of devices across the parish, as you do, right? It's probably another discussion for another time, but you are here, so I'm asking. If we ever put some type of emergency security alert on individual devices, for example, you have an active shooter, the Chromebook pops up, code blue, I believe, is that right? I mean, would your company be in charge of implementing that? Would that come out of those hours? Would that be something that, I guess, Beauregard would look at individually first, then
Yeah.
possibly come to you?
First of all, yeah, that's a really great question. That technology is out there. Those kind of alerting things we know is out there. That's something that would be really great to look at. What something like that would happen is in our weekly or whatever the meeting cadence is that we have with whoever the technology director is going to be, that question would come up. Okay, what does this look like? Okay, let's scope it out and let's find what it needs to be. If they need to outsource that to us for whatever reason and say, look, we don't have the people, expertise, materials, we need you guys to just take the ball and run with it and figure it all out, then yeah, it would come out of those remote consulting hours at that point. And if it turned into a project or something, I would imagine it probably something that would need to get bid or look at what the cost is on the parish and see what that looks like to implement. A lot of these things though like that, so that's generically speaking, but that particular subject that you have right there, it might be a relief to say I don't think it would be something that's really difficult logistically to implement. And I don't think it would be, it wouldn't be a very time consuming thing. Yeah. And that's certainly something that needs to be put on a list somewhere to take care of.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about the $85 an hour, but I see right here after the quote, on-site labor is $95 an hour, emergency and after-hours labor is $150. So that's that if they call?
That's neither, sir. I do apologize. That is an error on that proposal. That's just a standard appendage that goes at the bottom of every standard quote. The $85 is anytime. If it's used, those hours are outside scope and it's used on site and it's outside scope, it's included in those block hours that you see on there.
So this 95 and the 150?
Scratch it. I apologize. That's an error on that.
And then agreement, this is a 24-month agreement?
Yes, sir.
I have no other questions. Anybody else?
Tim, is this what you prefer compared to the old?
Larry?
If I can speak on behalf of
You don't mind,
technology.
Larry, my man, working with testing on film and whatnot?
For the last 3 years, I've been in charge of testing. And over the course of those 3 years, we have integrated entirely computer-based testing, including our third grade through ACT. So there are 6,000 plus devices within our parish. There is times when there might be 4,500 of them in use during a day. Now, to refer back to Mr. Manuel's question about hours and usage in Clint, during testing, he and I start every morning, 6:45 with, is everything up to date? Because he can remote check all of our testing servers. He knows there's a problem before anyone else knows there's a problem. So the only places, and this is almost always every year, we have to visit on site is going to be East Boulevard because something's going to catch on fire, and South Boulevard because lightning is going to strike something. That's been consistent since even into Leap Connect COVID year when we didn't have the second half of the testing. So this year alone, Clint probably had to be on site maybe 4 hours just for testing because he and server work are so integrated within our system. Talking to our principals, our staff, and those that deal with technology, like testing wise, they are very comfortable with server at work and the services they provide. The analogy that I was describing to Mr. Cooley after talking, visiting with several people and just seeing how they felt was, it's like your family doctor that you had for 30 years. You go on vacation, something happens, you call him, he knows your medical history. You don't have to go visit a new doctor. They don't have to run all these tests because he has all the information for you. He can call you something and get you better until you can get back and see him. Server at Work is enmeshed in our systems. They provide a reliable service that people have confidence in. Don't want to end up like Calcasieu Parish for $1.5 million through some phishing emails. We're protected from that. That COS certification that Mr. Michael mentioned is an annual audit that they pay for, which is $30,000 out of their pocket to make sure that they meet all the criteria to provide us with the safety that we need. So I'm 100% confident, and I'm also 100% confident in saying the majority of our parish would like to continue to see them in usage.
Saying and tagging on to what you asked, we feel very comfortable now that where we are, we could maintain.
Carol, we'll take the IT back online.
And I've got 2 IT guys right there. They all feel the same. They have a great working relationship. A lot of things can be solved via phone call, and testing is year-round now. So I'm with technology all the time, and also with virtual, the BVP program. And I know that a text or call and things happen, and it doesn't have to be here. They can happen from wherever they're at.
Any other questions for Mr. Michael or Mr. Hobbs? I have none, I'll consider for adjusted services, server work.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion.
And I'll second. That's what
Motion
you
second.
said, 62 years.
Yeah, for 2 years.
A motion second, further discussion.
Will we get will we get a revised one without
Yes,
the
ma'am.
bottom for Thursday?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure the expectation of the board is 6 months' time, we follow up to see how this is going, because I'm 100% with Server at Work, and I'm actually more scared of scaling back than continuing our agreement with you, to be honest.
Michael and I can both speak to that. We're not scaling back the services they provide us for protection of our data, which is key here. It's just the on-site presence of, Clint, basically, because we feel like we're in a capacity and a shape now that we can take care of the technical day-to-day while they monitor and keep us safe data-wise. Because one of the things that you'll see in that contract, and correct me if I'm wrong, is cloud saving. So all of our data, are we running, do we choose to do that?
Yeah, correct, yeah. All the data is already backed up in the cloud as well, so worst came to worst, I mean, there's a lot of talented bad guys out there. Worst comes to worst, we are backing everything up into the cloud, and most of your most critical software, like your student information system, JCampus, and your other systems like that, they're also hosted by third parties who are also backing everything up in the cloud. So You know, nothing's ever 100% guaranteed you're going to be safe, but you can at least do the extra things you need to do. Make sure if the worst happens, you've got backups and good plans to at least get you back in as quick as you can. So, yes, sir.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise? All right. Any no further business? Consider finance committee adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Next committee is Building and Grounds Committee. It's chaired by Mr. Wesley Taylor. And Mr. Taylor, if you'll tell us who all is on your committee.
This afternoon, we have, Building and Grounds Committee, myself, Ms. Jackson, Mr. Jones, Ms. Henry, and Mr. Emmanuel, all members. Purple attendance. Item number 1 is consider approval of the minutes of the February 7th, 2022 Building and Grounds Committee meeting as written. Motion entertained.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Henry. Any questions? This time, the chair call for a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 2 is to receive an update on projects. Mr. Ramsey's unavailable, so I got with him. And,
You have it, Mr.
Yes.
All right.
unless you want to read it.
No.
Yeah. We have a bond update and a hurricane update. So the bond for Maryville High School, progress is continuing. Completion date is prior to November. South Boulevard Elementary continue, that's question mark. South Boulevard Elementary continued progress with completion date that will have the building available for use when school begins in the fall. Elementary school in DeRidder, architects begin the design phase, and the project will be placed out for bid beginning in July. Bids will be accepted on the required timeline. The bid dates will begin July the 11th, opening bids on August 8th. As well with East Boulevard, the classrooms and the field house. The field house will go out for bids on June the 20th. Classrooms on July the 5th, so those bids will be open before the August meeting. So the bids will all be looked at then. East Boulevard classroom, pods and restroom. Architect continues design phase, will be placed out for bid, the same. Hurricane, roof repairs at Carver for the cafeteria and classrooms will be complete prior to the school year. East Boulevard High School, band rooms complete, ag buildings complete, and East Boulevard Elementary, the cafeteria roof completed prior to the beginning of school. Auditorium painting has been complete, and the intercom system has been complete. The field house, possible bid dates was July the 1st. I did talk to Mr. Ramsey, I went by there Friday. Just, there was a slab, he said, I think insurance can come up with a little bit more money. Wait to hear back from FEMA as far as what they're gonna offer. South Boulevard Upper Elementary, works in progress, cafeteria is priorities, so the students can utilize sometime in the fall. South Boulevard High School football, playing surface complete, lighting's complete, goal post, track, perimeter fencing, project complete with only punch list remaining. Press box, preparation of bids documents are underway, survey and geotechnical study will be completed by end of next week. For the central office, roof repairs completed by June the 30th. And this Head Start, roof demo, including asbestos removal and the quotes. Waiting the quotes will be to replace the historical requirements. The maintenance shop still needing sizable repairs. And that's it. Turn it back to you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you.
Leslie said that the SVE cafeteria, that they were hoping to be in it sometime in the fall.
UE.
Yeah, that's the one that's been shut down, yes, so, sometime by the fall is what he said. Sometime in the fall?
Yes. In the fall.
They pretty well have it gutted, and they're going back. Some of it.
You're working hot, heavy, good with that.
Yeah, I haven't got this.
Any further questions?
I have one for Ms. Cooley. So with Mr. Ramsey's retirement, kind of who is taking some of these projects on? Who's gonna kind of be the liaison?
I am working with him on, most of them, attending the meetings. Larry is helping me with some on the technology end. So that's how we're handling it right now until we get an assistant superintendent in place to know what they're gonna take over. But I've been attending all the meetings.
There's a lot going on for someone new to.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine.
and that's the reason I'd like to get somebody in place,
Yeah.
especially if they're gonna do something.
It's a big
in that
list.
area.
Okay. Any further committee business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn all committees. Moved by Mr. Jones,
Second.
second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor indicate so by saying yes.
Yes.
There is some